Okay, so it's time to give up your job and go freelance. Or is it actually? I've had a message from Vicus Andro, I think it is, and they say, freelancing is leading nowhere, at least for me. Having a family with 2 kids and a mortgage, I need a full-time job. Most freelancers are gaining pocket money. That is cool if you're at your 20s, at 30s and 40s, it's not cool at all. Being in graphic design and 3D artist, doing ArcViz for 10 years by the way, we're getting older and we need stability in our lives, so a full-time job is a necessity. Here in Cyprus, and I guess most of Europe, graphic design jobs are underpaid. With 3DS, good luck finding a full-time job if you're not in the countries that have movies, gaming industries, ... Notice that I have a full-time job, not in industry, teaching 3D Studio Max as part-time and a wedding photographer as well. So in this blog we're going to talk about when you should go freelance and when you shouldn't. So thank you very much Vakis for your comment, and yes, I completely understand where you're coming from. Freelancing certainly isn't for everyone, and you're right, it's not very stable and it's quite a difficult career, especially in the 3D industry. 3D art, graphics, anything that's creative can be extremely competitive for one, and it can be really underpaid as well. And I think it's mainly because it's such an enjoyable subject that loads of people want to go into it, and they see it as an ideal life to be sitting there in front of the computer, maybe pick up a few jobs, relax for the rest of the day, being creative, having fun, getting great feedback. All sounds perfect. It's even harder for people like photographers, graphic designers or videographers, filmmakers, because the entry level is quite low. You don't need masses of skills to create some sort of content. Whether it's good content or not is a different story. But you can imagine there's lots of people picking up a camera and saying, I'm a freelance photographer now. So you're always going to be competing with those people. So what sort of things do we need to consider if we are going to give up our job and go full-time freelance? Well, you certainly need to think about your current position. Well, as Vakis points out, when you're in your 40s and you've got a wife and 2 kids, a mortgage, then it's getting to be extremely difficult to be freelance when you haven't got the same stability as a full-time job for a company. So you really need to consider your current position and whether that's suitable to you. And also, you've got to think about the future as well. So maybe it is an okay thing to be in your 20s and be a freelancer, but will you still have those contracts when you're in your 30s and 40s? And also think a bit about the technology and how that's moving on, and are you going to be out of a job? In a full-time job, you've got stability, you can get retraining within your jobs, hopefully, and you won't be just suddenly made redundant. Even if you are made redundant, usually you get some sort of package to help you to move you on your way to your next job. Whereas freelancing, you haven't got those luxuries. So, one, you need to be in a stable position and you need to have some support. Maybe if you've got a partner, he or she might suddenly become the main breadwinner for your household. And if they are willing to support you, then that's great. Maybe you're young and you still live with your parents, and therefore you've got some sort of support network there. But do of course consider the future in those cases, and how far down the road, and are you able to adapt to the changing technologies? Is your specific field a dying field? So watch out for those sort of things if you are thinking of freelancing. It's fairly obvious as well that you need to have the ability to do it. If you're mediocre or just going into the industry, you will find it very tough. Of course, you can build up your skills as you're finding jobs and they're coming in, so you're slowly learning on the job and building up experience, and you can charge more later on when you get good, let's say. But as I understand it, for the most part, a full-time freelancer will actually have a lot of skill. They've been in the industry and they know what to expect, they know how to deal with clients, they may even know people in the industry and have clients already, and they can then go full-time freelancing. Those sort of people can earn a good amount of money and they can demand a lot of money for their useful industry skills. Whereas if you're just going into the industry, you're going to find it a lot tougher and there'll be a lot of competition around you. I think it's also important to have some sort of client base before you go freelance. So you may be thinking about going freelance and have a full-time job. Build up a few clients, get a few jobs, see what it's like, see whether there's the demand for your particular area, and then decide after that. Don't whatever you do just say, right, that's it, I'm quitting, I'm going freelance, and then hope for the best. I think it's really important to be adaptable as well and learn new skills all the time. So on the one hand, you'll be working really hard on your freelance work, and you'll be having to find time to do tutorials, learn new skills that will influence that work, but also prepare you for the future and changes in technology and the industry. And as Vakis points out, he's a teacher, a part-time photographer as well as a graphic and 3D artist. Vakis in fact sounds quite similar to me. I'm a teacher, trying to be a freelancer to some degree, a YouTuber, and I do video work. I've done graphic design, leaflets, I've done a magazine, and I'm constantly thinking what else is there out there for me. But I'm mainly a teacher. I would see that as my main profession, and certainly that gives me enough income to fund these other things and fund my interests. Maybe one day the freelance work and the YouTube will take over, but that's certainly not the case for me. And I don't want anybody out there to think that it's fairly simple just to slot your way into freelance work. Especially in this industry, it's quite tough. And I would say I'm in quite a lucky, advantageous position, because both me and my wife are part-time teachers, and we've got enough income from that to live a comfortable life and to save just a bit of money. And that gives me enough time to pursue these sort of YouTube, freelancey type job roles and career aspirations that I have. And I did only take the decision to go part-time when I felt I had just enough from my YouTube channel and freelance to get a tiny bit of income, and maybe I could start shifting into that career a bit. I do really enjoy the teaching, so I'll probably stick as it is. That's why you can tell I'm not that fussed about making loads of money or setting up my Patreon account or whatever it might be. And that's something I could perhaps chat about another time in another blog, about how much I earn through YouTube and website. So if anybody's interested, let me know. So would I recommend going freelance? Well, as always, it depends on your situation. Do think about what I've said though in terms of the stability. If you're just getting into the industry, then perhaps a stable job to build up your career skills would be a good idea. Then think about going freelance a bit later on. Also, make sure you have a stable base and that support around you. And lastly, think about the future, always trying to learn new things, trying out new things, and seeing which direction your career can take. So there's lots to think about there, and I'm not sure if I'm even that much help really, because it's entirely up to you and your situation and where you're at in your life at the moment. Do please comment below and add your thoughts, and do read the comments as well, because lots of people are coming up with great points that I haven't made. Also, of course, get along to the Discord server and you can chat to me, tell me about yourself, tell others about yourself, find out from others what's going on in their careers, and you can ask lots of Blender or design type questions. Also, you can get involved in the challenges and competitions, and you can see in the background the competition winner from the Low Poly Challenge. I haven't had time to print it out, so I've just had to insert it there, but I'll get sorted with my setup sometime soon. So look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for watching.